Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is a story for English learners who are tired of waiting to be perfect. Today, we are going to talk about something that has nothing to do with grammar, nothing to do with vocabulary lists, nothing to do with rules. We are going to talk about silence, your silence. You know the feeling. Someone asks you a question in English and you know the answer. You know it in your heart. You can hear it clearly in your own language, but something stops you. Something inside your chest gets tight. Your mouth stays closed, and you smile and nod as if you did not understand. But you did understand. You just did not speak. Maybe it happened at work, in a shop, or at an airport. Someone was waiting for your words, and your words never came, not because you did not have them, but because you were afraid of getting them wrong. This feeling has a name. It is called the fear of making mistakes, and it is one of the most common, most powerful, most misunderstood things in the experience of learning a language. Today, we are going to look at it clearly, not to make you feel bad, not to push you or judge you, but because this fear, if we never talk about it, will keep you silent for years. And you have already been silent long enough. This lesson has 4 parts, 4 simple ideas. Each one is something I want you to carry with you, not just today, but every time you open your mouth and feel that familiar tightness in your chest. Are you ready? Then let us begin. Lesson 1: Silence is not safe. I want you to imagine something. You are standing backstage at a theater. The curtain is in front of you. On the other side, there is an audience. The lights are warm. The seats are full. And somewhere in that room, there is a conversation happening, and you are supposed to be part of it. But you stay backstage because backstage feels safer. No one can see you make a mistake back here. No one can hear your accent. No one will look at you with that expression you are afraid of. Backstage, you are protected. But here is what no one tells you. The show never begins for you if you never step out. And every day you stay backstage, the curtain gets a little heavier. The fear gets a little bigger. And the audience, the real conversations, the real connections you could have had, they happen without you. Silence feels like a shield, but it is actually a wall. Now, I want to say something important here. If you feel afraid of making mistakes when you speak English, you are not weak. You are not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what brains are supposed to do. Scientists have found that social embarrassment, the feeling of saying something wrong in front of others, activates the same area of the brain as physical pain. The same area. Your fear is not imaginary. It is real. It is chemical. It is human. But knowing that does not mean you have to obey it. Think about 2 students sitting in the same English class, same teacher, same lessons, same number of hours every week. The first student is careful. She listens beautifully. She never raises her hand unless she is 100% sure of the answer. When she speaks, every word is considered, every sentence tested in her mind before it leaves her mouth. She makes very few mistakes in class. The second student is different. She speaks often. She gets things wrong regularly. She uses words in the wrong order sometimes. She mispronounces things. Her classmates have corrected her more times than she can count. But she keeps talking. She asks questions even when she is not sure how to form them. She tries. 6 months later, who do you think speaks more naturally? It is the second student. Every time. Not because she is smarter, not because she has more talent, but because her brain has been working. Every mistake she made was a signal, a message from her brain saying that did not come out right, let me try again. And her brain listened, and her brain learned. The first student's brain was resting, comfortable, quiet. And quiet brains, when it comes to language, do not grow. Here is something worth sitting with. People do not remember the mistakes you make when you speak. They remember whether you tried. They remember whether you were present, warm, engaged. A wrong verb tense disappears from memory in seconds, but the courage to show up and speak that people notice. Silence keeps you comfortable, and comfort keeps you exactly where you are. There is another way to think about this. Imagine you are learning to drive a car. You read the manual. You study the rules of the road. You watch videos about how the steering wheel works and when to use the brake. You feel ready. You understand everything in theory, but the first time you sit behind the wheel and actually drive, something is different. Your hands are uncertain. You check the mirror at the wrong moment. You stop too early or too late. Everything you understood in your head feels unfamiliar in your body. That is normal. That is exactly how it is supposed to feel. Because reading about driving and actually driving use completely different parts of your brain, and speaking English is the same. You cannot think your way into fluency. You have to speak your way there. Lesson 2. Mistakes are the method. I want you to watch a baby for a moment. Not a real baby, but imagine one. A small child, maybe 11 or 12 months old, trying to walk for the first time. She pulls herself up using the edge of a table. She stands. She wobbles. She takes one step. Then she falls. Now, here is something that never happens. The baby does not sit down on the floor and say, I am not ready to walk yet. I need to study more. I need to read about balance and gravity and the correct position of the feet. When I fully understand the theory, then I will try again. No. She gets up. She tries again. She falls again. She gets up again. Nobody thinks less of her for falling. Nobody says, what a terrible walker. Nobody gives up on her because everyone understands that falling is not the opposite of learning to walk. Falling is part of learning to walk, but somewhere between being a baby and being an adult, we forget this. We start believing that doing something wrong means we are not good enough, that a mistake is evidence of a flaw, not evidence of effort. This is one of the most damaging ideas a language learner can carry. Here is something that researchers who study language learning have understood for a long time. Your brain does not improve by receiving information alone. It improves by trying to produce language. By attempting to say something, searching for the right word, reaching for a structure, it has not fully mastered yet. When you try to speak and something comes out wrong, your brain notices. It registers the gap between what you wanted to say and what actually came out. And that gap, that small, uncomfortable moment of mismatch, is exactly where learning happens. The brain goes looking for a better answer, and the next time it finds one a little more easily. But if you never speak, there is no gap. There is no search. There is no finding. The brain simply sits waiting, receiving, but never truly reaching. And a brain that never reaches never grows. Every time you speak, your brain searches. Every time it searches, it finds. Every time it finds, you grow. Think about that the next time you feel embarrassed for saying something wrong. Your embarrassment is actually your brain working. It means you noticed. It means you cared. It means next time will be different. A mistake is not a wall. It is a step, a crooked, uncomfortable, necessary step. Samuel Beckett, a writer, once wrote 4 words that I think every language learner should keep close. He wrote, fail again, fail better. Not fail and stop. Not fail and hide. Fail better. Each attempt a little stronger than the last. Each mistake a little more informative than the one before. That is not failure. That is the method. And here is something worth remembering. The people listening to you are not keeping score. In most conversations, the other person is focused on the meaning of what you are saying, not on the grammatical structure holding it together. They want to understand you. They want to connect with you. A missing article, a verb in the wrong tense, an awkward word, order, none of these things prevent connection. Silence does. Lesson 3. Your brain needs to hear your voice. Let me ask you something personal. How many times have you had a perfect conversation in English inside your head? Maybe it happened this morning. You were in the shower or on the bus or lying in bed before sleep, and in your mind the words came easily. The sentences were clear. The pronunciation was smooth. You explained something complicated and it made sense. You told a story and it was interesting. You asked a question and it felt natural. In your head, your English is often quite good. But then the moment comes. A real person, a real question, and the voice inside your head, the one that speaks so clearly, goes quiet. I want to explain why this happens. And more importantly, I want to explain why speaking out loud, even alone, even to no one, is one of the most powerful things you can do. When you speak inside your head, only one part of your brain is working, the thinking part. But when you speak out loud, something different happens. Your mouth has to move. Your throat has to produce sound. Your ears hear your own voice. And your brain receives that sound and immediately begins comparing. Is that what I meant to say? Did that sound right? Was that the correct word? This comparison, this small loop of speaking and hearing and adjusting is how your brain trains itself. It is not so different from going to the gym. When you lift a weight, your muscle experiences resistance. That resistance is what makes it stronger. When you speak out loud and hear something that does not sound right, your brain experiences a kind of resistance too. And that resistance is what makes your English stronger. Reading about exercise does not build muscle. Thinking about English does not build fluency. Maybe you have been speaking English in your head for years. Perfect sentences, perfect pronunciation, long conversations with imaginary friends in a language you have been studying since you were a child, but no one has ever heard those sentences. And more importantly, your ears have never heard them either. That changes things. Start small, incredibly small. Tomorrow morning, say one sentence out loud in English. The topic can be anything. Nobody needs to hear it. Talk to your coffee cup. Talk to the window. Describe what you see outside. Say what you are planning to do today. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be impressive. It just has to be out loud because your voice is a muscle. And like every muscle, it only grows when you use it, not when you think about using it, not when you plan to use it someday when you feel more ready, when you actually use it today now with all the imperfection that today brings. The students who improve the fastest are not always the ones who study the most. They are often the ones who talk the most, to themselves, to strangers, to anyone willing to listen. They make their English loud, and in doing so, they make it real. There is a simple practice that some teachers call self-talk. Every day for just 5 or 10 minutes, you describe your life out loud in English. What you are doing, what you are thinking, what you see around you. You are not performing for anyone. You are simply giving your brain a daily workout, a small, private, low-pressure space to get your voice moving. Some people feel silly doing this. That is fine. Do it anyway. The feeling of silliness fades. The habit of speaking stays. And over time, that daily 5 minutes of talking to yourself becomes the foundation of something much larger. Make your English loud. Lesson 4. Speak with courage, improve with time. There is a belief that many people learning a language carry without realizing it. It sounds something like this. When I am good enough, I will start speaking more. When my grammar is cleaner, when my vocabulary is wider, when my pronunciation sounds more natural, then I will be ready. Then I will open my mouth with confidence. I understand this completely. It feels logical. It feels responsible. Why show people an unfinished version of yourself when you could wait and show them something better? But here is the problem. Confidence in speaking English does not come before speaking. It comes from speaking. You do not wait until you are brave to step into the water. You step into the water, and the stepping is what makes you brave. This is not just a motivational idea, it is how the human brain actually works. When you believe that your abilities are fixed, that you are either good at English or you are not, every mistake feels like proof of your limitations. Every wrong word is evidence that you are not a natural speaker, that this is not for you, that maybe you should just stop trying. This way of thinking keeps millions of people silent in languages they have studied for years. But when you understand that your abilities grow through effort, everything changes. A mistake is no longer a verdict, it is information. It is your brain saying, I tried something and now I know more than I did before. That small shift in how you see mistakes changes everything about how you respond to them. Most people know Michael Jordan as the greatest basketball player who ever lived. What fewer people remember is that when he was a teenager, he tried out for his high school basketball team and he did not make it. He was cut from the team, sent home, told in the clearest possible way that he was not good enough. He could have stopped. Many people would have. Many people do. Instead, he went home and he practiced every day. Not because he was certain he would become great, not because someone promised him success, but because he refused to let one moment of rejection write the end of his story. He did not wait until he was confident to keep playing. He played, and the playing built the confidence. You do not need to become Michael Jordan. You do not need to become a perfect English speaker. You just need to refuse to let the fear of a mistake write the end of your story. Think about the first time you did something difficult. Maybe it was riding a bicycle, or cooking a meal for other people, or speaking in front of a group in any language. Before you did it, you were not ready. You did not feel ready. You never feel ready before you do something new. Readiness is not a feeling that arrives before courage. It is a feeling that arrives because of it. The same is true here. You will not feel ready to speak English confidently and then start speaking. You will start speaking imperfectly, with effort, with mistakes, and slowly. Without always noticing it happening, you will find that you feel more ready than you did before, and then more ready than that, and then more. Every great English speaker you admire, every person whose fluency sounds effortless and natural, made 10,000 mistakes to get there. They said the wrong word. They used the wrong tense. They mispronounced things and got confused and had to ask people to repeat themselves. They felt embarrassed, and then They kept going. Fluency did not come first. Courage came first. Fluency followed. So the question is not, am I ready to speak? The question is, am I willing to speak, knowing that I am not yet perfect, and knowing that speaking is exactly what will get me there? That is the only question that matters. We have come a long way together in this lesson. And before we say goodbye, I want to walk back through what we have learned. Not as a list, just as a reminder, the kind you might need on a hard day when the fear comes back, as it sometimes will. We learned that silence is not safe. That staying quiet feels like protection, but is actually a kind of slow cost. Every conversation left unjoined, every sentence left unsaid is a small piece of progress that never happened. The backstage is comfortable, but your growth is out there on the stage in the light, in the middle of the imperfect, necessary conversation. We learned that mistakes are not the problem. Avoiding them is. Every mistake your mouth makes is a message your brain receives, a direction, a correction, a small piece of learning that could not have arrived any other way. The baby does not learn to walk by sitting still, and staying silent will not teach you to speak. We learned that your brain needs to hear your voice, not just inside your head where everything sounds perfect and nothing ever gets tested. Out loud, in the air, where your ears can receive it, your brain can compare it, and your English can actually grow. One sentence, tomorrow morning, out loud. That is all it takes to begin. And we learned that courage comes before fluency, not after. Waiting until you are ready is not the answer. You speak, and the speaking makes you ready. Every great speaker you have ever admired built their confidence the same way. One brave, imperfect, necessary sentence at a time. So here is what I want to leave you with today. Perfection is not required to speak. Fearlessness is not required to try. There is no need to wait until some future version of yourself arrives more prepared, more confident, more polished. That version of yourself is built right now, in this moment, every time you open your mouth and let the words come out whatever shape they arrive in. The English you have right now is enough to begin, and beginning is the only thing that will get you to where you want to go. Before you leave, I have one small challenge for you. Go to the comments section below this video and write one sentence in English. A short sentence is enough. A simple one is fine. It can be as plain as today, I decided to stop being afraid, or I am going to speak more from now on, or even just, I am trying. Write it. Because writing it is already speaking it, and speaking it is already the beginning of something. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep growing. And if you are learning English, know that every sentence you speak is a step forward, one brave sentence at a time. I will see you in the next lesson.